What's up, YouTube? So here's my cheapest eBay purchase of a diesel heater install. It's the room mark. There's my battery and connections, and then there's the air intake for your inside air. Fuel. And then down here, I got it ran through the wall. Got one of those through the wall kits, as well as put a metal piece here, some sort of conduit, and then wrapped it with the fiberglass insulation, which is supposed to be pretty bad for your health as far as itching and breathing it. So got it soaked in water, went okay. And then there's my air intake, and there's the exhaust and air intake. So essentially, got a hole cut up there, and I used this corner of the shop barely, so figured it was a good location for it. And pretty simple. You just apply the 12-volt power, and it turns on. And like I said, got the heat wrap. I ran it for a couple hours. Drywall got maybe 110 degrees on surface, while this here was about anywhere from 250 to 300 degrees roughly. Okay, here's two of the hole saws I used. It's a 3-inch hole saw and 1.25-inch hole saw. So a 3-inch ducting, and I made sure that it's not touching any wood or anywhere near the wood, so there's an airspace gap. And then that one, there's the 1.25-inch hole. Okay, so my purchase on these diesel heaters, the main point was to get the cheapest one on eBay that I could find at the time, as well as the cheapest diesel heater on Amazon. So the Amazon one took longer, almost a week longer than the eBay. The room mark came off of eBay, and my other one over here I'll show you came later, was the different brand. It's the tall vertical style. So the main point on this is to heat the shop and get off the electric heat as far as noise. This thing is a little bit quieter. You've heard them before. My main stress and main point is actually to make sure that everyone has safety in mind. So here essentially is a carbon monoxide alarm. You want to make sure you have that, and just be aware, the carbon monoxide alarm is important to operate these safely, as well as probably a smoke alarm, but you want to make sure you test them, have batteries in them, and mount them to their instructions. Okay, so this one here is the Euker brand, EUKER, and it is supposedly a 5-kilowatt diesel heater. So let's open it up together. I got it cracked open. So here's the diesel heater. Came in a nondescript package, really. Just some random words made in China. So at the base of this here is a box, and it came pretty well packaged, as you can see. So just some foam. All right, so this is a diesel heater. Here's the front of it. So it looks like a remote. The hot air out. These are basically all the same designs here, except for this one's a little bit more vertical and a different display unit than the other model. Your fuel level, and then on the back is your fresh air intake as well as power supply. And it looks like this one does not have fuses, and the other model over here, the Rumark, has fuses on this pigtail. So this one doesn't. This one is a quick to open latches. The other one over there has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side Phillips, and then looks like 6 Phillips on top. So it's a lot more in depth to open. This one here, you just have these snaps. And looks like that's pretty much it to unsnap these here. And then you got to take off the fuel cap. And that's your fuel tank. So the capacity is a little bit different than the other model, looks like. And your fuel pump here, looks like you got some white hose. The other model has got a greenish hose. So this model here is 5 kilowatt hours at 40 watts. So it's 40 watts. It's calling for voltage around 15 amps. And then in the package here is the accessories, which was at the bottom of the box. So as far as accessories go, these are pretty pretty flimsy, as you can tell. Looks like I got quite the unit here. Obviously it's just pretty simple design, not much to it. The accessories here, this is your exhaust, which is in and out exhaust, goes down here. So your air intake and then your exhaust. So your 1-inch connection pipe clamps onto there with a clamp, and then you route it outside, and then you try to get your fresh air inside. So your combustible air is outside. You'd want to supply these with a battery. If you supply them with 12 volts and the power shuts off, shore power, it wouldn't shut off correctly, leading to exhaust gases potentially coming out inside your room that you're trying to heat, which could be deadly. So the other objects in this box are a muffler with some different clamps and bolts, and then your hardware package with more band clamps and bolts. And then here's your fresh air intake. Fresh air intake hose, as well as your so your fresh air intake hose, which is expandable. This is a short one. This is the air filter. It just screws onto here. You just screw it on, twist on. So this is a different air filter than the other one, and I actually did rob this hose out of this one, because this model, the Euker, came with a longer hose, and I needed that for my intake combustion air. So that model, Remark, came with a very short hose, and the other one was just a little bit longer, so I snagged it. These are pretty common in both of them. They're flexible hoses, they're expandable, and this is your hot exhaust for your fresh air, your heated diesel air through this heat exchanger right here. So you can route this out through over here on the air output. So quite frankly, they're a all-in-one kit. Looks like pretty basic. I bought 2 of them. This is the cheapest one I could find. I'll list you some prices. What's up, YouTube? So here's my cheapest eBay purchase of a diesel heater install. It's the Remark. There's my battery and connections, and then there's the air intake for your inside air. Fuel. And then down here, I got it ran through the wall. Got one of those through the wall kits, as well as put a metal piece here, some sort of conduit, and then wrapped it with the fiberglass insulation, which is supposed to be pretty bad for your health as far as itching and breathing it. So got it soaked in water, went okay. And then there's my air intake, and there's the exhaust and air intake. So essentially got a hole cut up there, and I used this corner of the shop barely, so figured it was a good location for it. And pretty simple. You just apply the 12-volt power and it turns on. And like I said, got the heat wrap. I ran it for a couple hours. Drywall got maybe 110 degrees on surface, while this here was about anywhere from 250 to 300 degrees roughly. Looks like this is a different air filter than that model, and the other difference, like I said, is the combustible air hose was shorter on that model, and I snagged it out of the Euker because it is longer. So something to be aware of when you're planning on putting these together is essentially your exhaust hose is only so long, and you might want or need a longer hose, as well as through the wall accessories, or adapt it so you don't have any combustibles near this hot exhaust that can get up to 340 degrees roughly. So you want to be safe as well. Carbon monoxide is poisonous. You cannot smell it and is deadly. So you want to make sure you have operational carbon monoxide detector, as well as fire alarm, and then also your battery over there for your power. You'd want to have some sort of trickle charger. So hopefully this helps. I got prices listed below. Looks like I got the cheapest I could find on Amazon at the time. It's currently unavailable, but I'll show you how much I paid. And then also the cheapest I could find on eBay. So I have two different models, two different types, and that was my main goal, is to see how cheap I can get these and also if they work. So I'll show you this thing lighting up here. Okay, we got the room arc here. I filled it up with diesel earlier. Got to watch out for spills. I wiped up some mess I made. I did get a little bit down here. You can see the staining, but I tried cleaning it best I could. So I got my positive and negative here for power. And just for now, I don't have a battery tender, but you would want to have a battery tender on this to make sure you don't run out of juice. Alright, so currently we're live with power, and then over here you can either hit this button for power or you can hit the remote for power.
Start heating.
So immediately it says start heating. It's starting to blow out some air here through the heat exchanger. And then it's going to start heating up the glow plugs, and then have combustion inside, and then fresh air coming in from back here, which it's starting to fan, and then it's going to go through the combustion chamber and exit hot air through here into your room. I shortened this up, but you can keep it a longer hose, and then it's directional. And then here you want to just make sure that, like I said, the combustibles are away from drywall, insulation, just to be safe. And then also make sure your clamps are all secured and have a working carbon monoxide alarm. Okay, it's starting to send out some exhaust gases, and that is the different air intake filter. Okay, looks like we got it lit, starting to put out some warm air, and you can hear the fans, both the exhaust throwing out a lot more heat, and as well as the fan here kicking out some hot air starting to. A lot of these run in Celsius. I haven't figured out how to convert it, and as well as there's up and down buttons, and you can set the time. There's timers where you can turn it on and off. You hold down the power button on this model, it'll go to manual mode, and you could set different output levels. It's like 1 through 10. So, looks like they're Wi-Fi capable. I haven't figured that out yet. And then we're putting out some heat. And the fan is pretty noticeable heat. As you can probably hear. and it's starting now. Obviously it's doing its heat exchange, trying to heat this room. So now when you want to turn it off, you don't want to unplug it quickly, you want it to cool down. So the cool down mode will take a few minutes, just like startup. So currently now it's running, it's in manual mode. You can leave it in manual or auto, and to turn it off you just hit that button.
Stop heating.
So it stops the injector pump for the diesel, which is that clicking noise that everyone hates. And then also it just makes sure all the combustible gases go out the exhaust pipe. And it'll just slowly ramp down, and it'll say bon voyage, have a safe trip, or something stupid. So just let it do its thing, and it'll cool itself off as well as get rid of those combustible gases. Okay, hopefully I was able to help you out in deciding how to potentially install one of these, as well as a view of the two cheapest options that I could find on eBay and Amazon. eBay did ship sooner, but eBay's air intake hose was a shorter hose, and looks like their controllers are slightly different as far as the model. Their remotes are different. This one's a little bit bigger and bulkier. That build quality of the Rumark seems to be a little bit sturdier than this one. Just because of the design, it appears, you know, it's a square versus a rectangle, and it has a lot of screws to put it together. And the Amazon one here, the Euker, came with this red and clear air filter. So slight differences in quality. Obviously they're pretty similar, but their hoses, fuel lines are a little bit different. And then, like I said, the Rumark over there had a fuse, and let's see here if this one does. It looks like it does have a fuse, and it is hidden right here. So it is labeled fuse, and it's just a fuse on the inside of the box versus outside. Okay, here's the Rumark that I purchased from eBay, and the Euker is purchased on Amazon. So pretty nondescript. I believe they all have similar parts as far as components, probably manufactured in same facilities as like Vivor or other brands, but I'm not sure certainly. But there's a lot of similarities as far as the heat exchanger, quality, color, designs, and this is just a side-by-side of the two. This one here has the fuel level markings there, and then unfortunately with this install the fuel level markings are on the far right for this one. So one of them's a taller unit, one of them's a more compact, shorter but wider unit. This unit seems to be putting out pretty good heat so far. I have not hooked up or turned on this one yet, but it appears that the controls are different as far as that goes. Like I said, I want to stress to make sure that you guys are safe. You have your carbon monoxide as well as fire alarms, just to be safe with these devices. But I appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you for watching my channel. Subscribe, like, and I appreciate the views, as well as give me any comments of how I did anything wrong with this install, and what you think of as far as these two cost-effective ones. Links will be in the description below, if available, for the purchases of the items that I used to install this. Thank you. Have a nice day.